On this week's episode of What's Up Weekly, an IU alumnus is a big star because of tiny homes. We'll talk to the former student about his feature on HGTV. And we've got highlights from the 2018 Miss Black and Gold Scholarship Pageant. What's Up Weekly starts now. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of What's Up Weekly. I'm Laura Puglisi. Unfortunately, Alex couldn't be here today, so I will be flying solo and filling in for her. To start off this week's show, we have been teasing a big story this week about tiny homes. That's all because IU alumnus and Kelley School of Business graduate Daniel Waddell was recently featured on HGTV's Tiny House, Big Living for his unique custom tiny homes. I checked out one of the tiny homes on wheels that Waddell actually lives in right now here in Bloomington, and it's bigger than what it looks like on the outside. For Daniel Waddell, home is wherever he can park his miniature house.
This is my actual tiny home. I lived in this one for roughly the last 3 years.
It's called Snails Away the Fiddle and Snail, and it's the first tiny home Waddell ever built.
This tiny home is about 16 feet long, 8.5 feet wide, and 13.5 feet tall. Although two of me would be taller than this tiny home, it basically has everything you could ever need.
As an IU student, he spent his weekends milling lumber from dead trees found on his front lawn and creating a place he could call home. Now, he's made a career out of a hobby, and thus, Carpenter Owl was born.
I feel fortunate in the tiny house world because it is incredibly crowded, and I go to shows with a lot of people and they're all just trying to get their toehold in the movement, and I'm this just weird dude that shows up in a big hat in my own house. And because I have that story with it, it seems I do sell more houses.
So far, Waddell and his team have created about 11 completely unique, customized tiny homes, ranging in price from $12,000 to $85,000.
Everything's custom, it's to the client. We typically look at 4 or 5 different things that they want to have in their home, their needs, their wants, and then we build a house around it.
His creations have everything from glass dome roofs to balcony slides to pick-up bed campers. He says it's all about creating a space that fits someone perfectly.
Why tiny houses? It's like the same as saying why a big house or why a mansion or why a school bus or why a van. It fits where you are in life. And I think if you can make your home fit really well where you are in life, then everything you do kind of evens out and accelerates.
Waddell and his tiny homes were first featured on the DIY network on February 1st, but you can still catch the episode this month on the 15th at 10 p.m. and the 22nd at 10:30 p.m. For more information on Carpenter Owl, visit www.carpenterowl.com. And we actually have Daniel Waddell right here in studio today, just in case you haven't gotten enough. Stay tuned for our chat with the IU alumnus coming up in just a bit. And this past Sunday, the Buskirk-Chumley Theater filled with spectators that attended the annual Miss Black and Gold Scholarship Pageant. The pageant is presented by the Gamma Eta chapter of the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated every year. The goal of the pageant is to give young collegiate African-American women a chance to serve in their community and be a role model to others. 8 women total competed in various routines to reveal the top 3 winners: Miss Black, Miss Gold, and the highest scoring winner, Miss Black and Gold.
Honestly, I can't even describe it. I wasn't expecting it at all, but it felt amazing.
The 2018 winners receive scholarships to help them continue their education. To learn more about the Gamma Eta chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha and the Miss Black and Gold Scholarship Pageant, visit their website. For this week's trending topics, let's start off by looking into the 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang. The opening ceremony held on Friday night kicked off the start to the 2-week-long Olympic Games. If you haven't been watching the action, you are missing out. Between North Korea tensions, the Russian doping scandal, and this year's games, it's about a little bit more than sports. And a video of North Korea's cheerleading squad has recently gone viral because, well, take a look. They are perfectly in sync. At Kristen Meinzer tweeted, "Am I the only one who's completely terrified by the North Korean cheer squad?" No, you are not. At David A. French tweeted, "Just saw the first video of that North Korean cheer squad. How any person can see that and not be creeped out is beyond me. Imagine the brutality that led to that symmetry." This one, in my opinion, just about sums it all up. At Rosa Zamboni tweeted, "I am not sure if the North Korean cheer squad is funny, weird, or just really, really sad." Moving on, over the weekend, the U.S. picked up 6 total medals so far, including 3 golds. 17-year-old Red Gerard brought home the first U.S. gold medal for men's snowboarding slopestyle. Also taking home gold, 17-year-old Chloe Kim won big in the women's halfpipe, and Jamie Anderson did well in the women's snowboarding slopestyle. Chris Madser won the first U.S. men's single luge medal, taking silver, and Team USA won bronze in the figure skating team event. U.S. skater Mariah Nagasu landed a historic triple axel, making her the first American woman to do so in the Olympics. For more information on this year's schedule, visit www.olympic.org/Pyeongchang-2018. And be sure to tune in and watch some of the competitions. Check back with us next week for more updates on the 2018 Olympic Games. Now in other news, the former president and first lady were the topic of discussion this week as they both made special appearances in real life and as portraits. The Smithsonian's Natural Portrait Gallery unveiled official paintings of Barack and Michelle Obama, which is a rite of passage for many former presidents. The special part is that the couple actually hand-selected the artists who created these portraits for them. The former POTUS chose Kihile Wiley, a Yale University trained painter from Los Angeles who is famous for his depictions of minorities using bold pops of color. You can most definitely see that through his portrait, and after revealing the painting, he actually joked about the depiction of his graying hair, but reacted warmly by saying, "That's pretty sharp." Now, the former FLOTUS chose Amy Sherald, an African-American painter based out of Baltimore, known for depicting themes of social injustice through her work. You can definitely see some differences between the two pieces. Sherald's piece less about realism and more about shape and color, which is traditionally a part of her work. So with this, the former First Lady wanted to empower girls and girls of color, allowing them to see someone who looks like them on the walls of the Smithsonian, which is definitely very inspiring. The portraits will be open to public viewing starting today. Coming up after the break, Daniel Waddell will tell us how he makes a living on tiny homes. Stay with us.
And it's an honor to be here.
After suffering a season-ending injury in late March,
As you can see behind me,
You heard his story earlier. Now we would like to welcome Daniel Waddell in studio today. Thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thanks for having me.
We loved hearing your story. I loved, going and looking at all of the houses. Tell me a little bit about you as a IU alumnus and how maybe your experience at IU has shaped you and kind of made you who you are today.
Well, just today I was submitting the next contract and the next set of building drawings for a client. So using heavily the business background, Excel spreadsheets, that sort of stuff. A lot of CAD drawing, which I learned from the sculpture school.
Okay. So a lot of the, stuff you got out of the Kelley School of Business, And what was the other thing? You were in the Kelly School of Business grad and...
So yeah, I finished the Kelly School in 2008, and I did a subsequent bachelor's and finished a degree in sculpture from the Hope School. The name has changed since I went there, but...
Cool. And so obviously, you live in a pretty tiny house compared to a lot of other places. Tell me a little bit about what the benefits of living in a tiny house are, what your clients like, and what they get out of living in this tiny house.
So I do only custom homes, so all of it's very different. For my personal story, I paid all my college debt off, all the debts in my 20s at age 32. So now I'm sitting with a lot of equity and a lot of options. And my last couple clients, they were just building homes, simple spaces to live. One of them was a medicine maker in North Carolina, wanted a space to bring clients in, to make medicine for them, and a place to live connected to nature. So her house reflects that very heavily. See-through walls, ceilings, spaces to make medicine.
And that one actually stood out to me. I remember looking at that one and thinking, wow, that is an interesting space. You mentioned something about that was one of your favorite projects, or what was your favorite project?
That still stays as my favorite client. It's, for me, the connection with the people and the structure. I think that matched up better than anything else I've built. When I assess the quality or the reason for doing a project, I have this big matrices of how much does it help the world, how much does it help the person, how much do I financially gain, and there's got to be some sort of balance. And that one was definitely more in that helping the world, resistance, and working toward a better planet. And seeing her use it day to day is really amazing.
Yeah.
Whereas I've done client homes that are more for vacation, and I have less connection to those. They feel a little empty because they sit. And then I had, of course, had my home where I learned to play fiddle in that space.
Yeah, so every home's very unique, it seems, to your client and the person that you're making it for.
If I succeed, the home fits that stage of their life.
That's great. So let's talk a little bit about HGTV and how you got involved on that show. First, tell me about what was your reaction when they reached out to you and said, hey, we want you to be on our show?
Well, first I was very surprised. They told me, though, in the interview, the first time they were on the phone with me, that they said, you're going to get a bunch of these calls now. Because my house got famous probably 18 months ago. Wow. Snail's Away the Fiddling Snail, which is, it's a really charming house. Now when I look at it, I'm like, man, I did a lot of stuff wrong, but it still charms folks. And it's led to me having enough work as a craftsperson to hire friends and to make a living doing it.
And then when the show actually aired, so we talked about what your reaction was when you first got on the show. When you saw it on TV, what did you think? And not only just being on the show, but seeing your work and all that you've accomplished up on TV, how did that feel?
I'll be honest, I haven't seen all of the episode yet.
Really?
I had a public airing of the episode and it kept skipping.
Oh no.
And I bought it, but I've kind of saved it to watch with my family. So
That's
the
nice.
first viewing for me will be, I'll return home this Thursday, actually, a couple days from now.
And you'll watch the full show?
I'll watch the full show with them, yeah.
That's exciting. You'll have to tell us how it goes and what your first reaction was for it. Before we end here, I know you mentioned to me that you have some really cool, exciting new projects coming. So you've done so much in the past. You've gotten a lot of attention for your past homes, but you said you have a lot coming up in the future. Tell me a little bit about what your projects are going to be like.
So the next two that are confirmed, and there are three that are on the table. We're starting the Broomsticks Bakery, which is a local food truck.
Wow.
There's going to be a lot of curved wood on the outside, Japanese-style wood burning. Really exciting little simple project, which I haven't had simple in a long time. It's all been curved, organic. The next project we're doing is a 16-foot truck that will be personally owned by me and my business partner. And we'll probably travel with that one quite a bit and rent it out. And then I've been working with an 81-year-old lady to do my first single-story tiny house.
Wow.
So it creates a space. She just wants somewhere to live out her final days in comfort, and then to leave some equity for her family. So she approached me about a month ago to start designing and working with her needs. Wow,
that's incredible. So, you've done so much, and you really have taken a different approach to living, or typical living styles. If you could say one thing about, the tiny house world, you were telling me how you enjoy going to the shows, seeing other people's creations. If you could say one thing about, the tiny house world, what would it be? What's your favorite part?
Right now, it's DIY builders, which is strange. I started out as a DIY builder, and you would think, I've done enough shows now that you feel this sort of air of desperation where spec builders almost seem pitted against DIY builders, and I just want to tell people how to do it. And I want to tell people how to do what I do. I mean, if you're doing what you do well, people can't copy that. You know,
And
like
really quickly, for our viewers, what is the difference between DIY and spec builders?
So spec is when someone builds a house and brings it to a show, trying to find a client to buy that particular house or something very similar to it. So a model home.
Okay.
And DIYers are people that just go for it and they figure it out and they build some really crazy stuff.
Wow, really cool. So if people want to watch the episode, where can they go? It's season 7 episode.
I think it's episode 3.
Okay.
And you can buy it on Amazon. I imagine on iTunes. And I think is
Perfect.
YouTube as well. But it's on DIY Network a couple more times this month, and then it ports over to HGTV.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for being on our show today. We will definitely, keep our viewers in the loop with your future projects, and we will stay in the loop. And we are so excited to see what you have planned for the future. Thank you so much. That's what's up this week. Make sure to tune in next time for all your local and entertainment news. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at IUSTV News, and follow us on Twitter at IUSTV. For What's Up Weekly, I'm Laura Puglisi. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.